So using the annotation tool, by clicking the T for text and typing on the whiteboard on the screen, or using the chat box, would you please let me know your key takeaways from session 1? Also, if you have any unresolved questions. Okay, so I see eNote. The 7 p.m. on the second business day deadline. That's good. That's a great one. Reading your pre-K notice from eNotification. That's great. You can track if we read the pre-K. That is correct. Wonderful. You know, don't be shy. You know, everyone can type or type in the chat box. Okay, in the chat box, Melanie said, understanding the importance of meeting the reporting deadlines, like at the second business day at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Melanie. I'll give this just another minute or two. The monthly investor reporting workflow. Good. Thank you, John. The deadlines for reporting and the corrections for the fourth business day. Thank you. And Joseph, the due dates of the importance of e-notifications. Yes, the e-notifications are very important. Kathy said deadlines, reporting the timelines. Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone, for providing that feedback. Okay, so we have a question here. Patricia asked, what happens if you miss the 7 p.m. second business day deadline? We actually report that information to Jenny Mae, and then one of the account executives will contact you. And there may be a civil monetary penalty assessed with missing that deadline. That's a great question, Patricia. Thank you. Sarah, would you please export this slide before we move on? Thank you, Sarah. In session 1, I covered the issuer primary responsibilities and subservicing partnership. Nancy covered resources and reference documentation available to issuers on the Jenny Mae website and touched on some Jenny Mae terms. I covered the monthly reporting timeline, including the major deadlines for missing pool and loan data and when critical alerts must be cleared. Gail explained the e-notification process. Today, we will be focusing on these 3 bolded modules on the slide. We will dive right into the RFS monthly reporting of pool and loan data. In this module, we will explain the 4 types of the RFS records, how to edit the records appropriately, define which calculations RFS performs, and distinguish which fields issuers are responsible for reporting and editing. It is very important that 100% of the pool and loan data be reported by 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the second business day in RFS. Also, critical exceptions must be cleared by 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the fourth business day. The best way to know how 100% of your pool and loan data is reported on the second business day is to view the summary screen and ensure that the reported loans and pools balance to the expected loans and pools. Also, you should view the Exceptions tab to ensure that there are no outstanding RFS 111 missing pool exceptions and no outstanding RFS 204 missing loan exceptions. The 4 records are pool, loan, sensitive, and various, which we will cover in detail over the next section of slides. Ginnie Mae MBS Guide Appendix 6-19, which Nancy discussed on Monday, gives a full description of each record. Appendix 6-19 should have been emailed to you prior to this training. If you did not receive it, it can be found on the ginniemay.gov website and also on the link provided at the bottom of this slide. The pool record contains data elements related to the Ginnie Mae pool and is required each month. One record reports one pool. Therefore, if you have 10 active pools, then your RFS file should have 10 pool records. The information in the P record represents the monthly cumulative pool status as of your Ginnie Mae cutoff date. The P record includes unscheduled principal. Unscheduled principal is liquidations, which are payoffs, buyouts, and loss meant, to name a few. Curtailments, adjustments, and claim funds are also considered to be unscheduled principal. These funds roll to the pool record from the loan record and reduces the security RPB. Page 7 of Appendix 6-19 displays the P record layout. Also, at the bottom of the screen, there is a sample of the P record is displayed. If it is a string of text with specific start and end points for each field reported on the P record. Please note that some of the fields are signed fields showing a plus or minus sign. Important RFS calculations. On the pool record, the 7 below fields are calculated for purposes of editing, for loan and pool accounting, and for 11.710A pool summary data. The security RPB is reported by the issuer. The 7 fields calculated by RFS are not reported by the issuer are opening security RPB, scheduled principal, interest due security holder, cash due security holder, the calculated closing security balance, guarantee fee, and liquidations in full FIC. Issuers report adjustments to FIC and closing FIC. RFS calculates and compares the adjustment and closing FIC behind the scenes. Would you please raise your hand if you are familiar with the 11.710A? Okay, thank you. I see a few hands. Sarah, could you please clear the hands? The pool record has a total of 25 slides. This slide shows fields 1 through 9. The pool record always begins with the letter P. The 2 fields that generate the most exceptions are bolded. Pool FIC has to agree with the cumulative active loan FIC for the reporting period. This shows fields 10 through 17. The final security RPB is the value that RFS releases to the CPTA after 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 4th business day. Please note that fields 14 and 15 only apply to multifamily pools. And this shows fields 18 through 25, which is the end of the P record. Please note that fields 20 through 23 only apply to multifamily pools. The loan record contains data elements related to active loans within a Ginnie Mae pool and is required each month. One record reports one loan. The information in the L record represents the monthly cumulative loan status as of your Ginnie Mae cutoff date. The L record includes reporting liquidations on the loan within the report period. A ULID, which is the unique loan ID, is assigned by Ginnie Mae and needs to be input into your servicing system for reporting to RFS. The ULID are posted in e-notification as a text file, which was discussed on Monday during e-notification. Page 12 of Appendix 6-19 displays the L record layout. Also, at the very bottom of the screen, a sample of the L record is displayed. It is a string of text, just like the pool record, with a specific start and end points for each field reported in the L record. The L record has a total of 29 fields. This slide shows fields 1 through 8. The loan record always begins with the letter L. The three fields that generate the most exceptions are bolded. Case number, first payment date, and loan maturity date should all match the reported values on the 11706. Case number layout for each agency can be found in APM 02-17. The first payment date and loan maturity date for modified loans will be discussed on Friday. This shows fields 9 through 15. The loan OPB must agree to the original note even if the loan has been modified. Last installment paid date should be reported when a full P&I payment has been received. This shows fields 16 through 21. All collections of interest and principal should be reported in fields 18 and 19 when collected within the reporting cycle. If you collect more than one payment within the reporting cycle, the total must be reported in fields 18 and 19. This shows fields 22 through 29, which is the end of the L record. The loan UPB must be reported even if the loan is being liquidated. The liquidation information is in the fields is in fields 24 through 28. Notice that field 29 is not required for multifamily loans. Now I will turn it over to Nancy.
There we go. I had to figure out how to do this. Good. Thank you, Christy, and good morning, everyone. We're going to look at the sensitive record. It contains static information. Issuers should only report a sensitive record if they need to make changes to incorrect or incomplete data. Page 20 of Appendix 6-19 displays the S record layout. Very few multifamily issuers ever need to change data on their sensitive record. This shows fields 1 through 10. The name of the organization or for your mortgage should be reported in field 9, which is the borrower's last name field. This is fields 11 through 21. Normally, multifamily issuers do not report any information on these fields. For the various record, please raise your hands if you've ever worked various suspense. I don't think I see any hands raised. Sarah, if there are, can you please clear those? The various record contains static data also. The record should only be reported if there is any change in data that was initially submitted at origination on the schedule of pooled mortgages. There are a total of 25 fields on the V record. Multifamily issuers only need to report 4 fields: loan to value, debt service ratio, and MERS information, the min and the mom. Page 23 of Appendix 6-19 will show the record layout for the various record. Before we get into the different fields on the various record, let's go over how the various suspense process works. This is a little confusing to issuers, so we're hoping this will help clarify some of the information. On the last slide, I mentioned that the V record is not submitted unless you need to change data from pool delivery. RFS updates or captures the information reported at pool delivery. Any changes to this information can require the record to be suspended. A controlled field is identified by a 1 in the field name on the Appendix 6-19. Issuers are notified in RFS by e-notification when they have a suspended V item. RFS operations contacts the issuers to provide instructions by emailing. And the address is to Jenny May Various at Deloitte.com. Sorry. For our slides, we are using an asterisk under the field name instead of the number 1 to show that this is a controlled field. This slide shows field 1s through 8. Field number 5, loan to value, is the only controlled field for multifamily issuers. Also noted on this slide is field 7 is debt service ratio, which only applies to multifamily issuers. Fields 9 through 14 also has information where multifamily needs to report. Field 10 is the min number and field 11 is the mom number. This all is for the mortgage electronic registration system, which is known as MERS. There's not any valid fields for multifamily to report on this slide and the next slide. So fields 15 through 20 and 21 through 25 does not apply to multifamily. Using your annotation tool, or I think Sarah has to turn it on, if you'll turn that on, place a sticker on the type of record that contains static information. Thank you. Oh, what is that? Thank you. The sensitive and the various record both contain static information. We're going to continue to the next slide, and that would be to please place a sticker on the records that include unscheduled principal. That is right, the pool and the loan record. Most of the unscheduled principal is reported on the loan record, and that will roll to the pool record when you save and summarize the pool. The pool record also has an RPB adjustment field, which will either pass through additional unscheduled principal or recover principal from the pass-through. So which records are only reported if there is a change to data? Please place a sticky. Okay, the sensitive and the various loan record are the two records that are submitted only with the change of data. Please always submit a loan record. I see one little sticky under loan record. I hope that was a mistake. Thank y'all for working on that with us. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Christy.
Thank you, Nancy. My camera turned on here. There it goes. Okay. In this module, we will define common exception messages and summarization alerts, explain how to navigate the exception feedback summary screen, and list steps on how to download your exception feedback CSV file. RFS is the reporting and feedback system. Both pool and loan level information may be entered online in RFS, or a file may be uploaded. Any information input into RFS is subject to editing. This upload exception feedback is provided for any files that are accepted and can be viewed on the functional acknowledgement screen in RFS and also within eNotification. This is the initial edit process. Data uploaded or entered manually online will be processed by RFS and will be summarized only if 90% of the data has been reported and or accepted. The summarize process performs the accounting calculations for the pools and loans within the issuer's portfolio. Summarization occurs automatically when the issuer has reported 90% of the pool and loan data. Also, there is a nightly bulk summarization for all issuers meeting the 90% criteria to include any data manually entered online in RFS. If 90% of the data is not accepted, the summarization process was not completed. The summary screen will not display correct values. The issuer should review their exception feedback. First, navigate in RFS to exception feedback, then to the summary screen. This provides a snapshot of the monthly reporting activity and total number of outstanding exceptions. Then click on the Exceptions tab at the top of the screen to display a snapshot of outstanding exceptions. By clicking the Download tab and clicking Download Exceptions, this will download a full list of outstanding exceptions in a CSV file. A best practice would be to save this download of exceptions daily. Summarization performs important calculations in RFS, which include the number of pulls expected and the number of pulls reported by the issuer, the number of loans expected and the number of loans reported by the issuer, loan level delinquency based on the current reporting period from field 3 of the file header record, and the last installment paid date from field 12 of the loan record. The pull FIC is compared to the loan level reported FIC and the principal and interest collected, which is summarized from the loan level. As a reminder, there is a nightly bulk summarization for all issuers that have reported at least 90% of their pull and loan data. This is a snippet of Appendix 6-19 with possible exception messages for each field. Sarah, could you please turn on the annotation tool? Using the annotation tool, place a sticker on the RFS 111 exception. An E-level RFS 111 exception explains that there is no activity reported for the current reporting period, which means the pull is missing. This exception would display on the pull screen in RFS and would appear on the exception download CSV file. To fix this RFS 111 exception, the pull would have to be manually entered into RFS on the pull screen, or a file would have to be uploaded that included the missing pull. Also, summarization alerts are italicized in Appendix 6-19 and only appear in RFS once 90% of the issuer's data is reported in RFS. Okay, so do I have any stickers on? There we go. Now I'm seeing some stickers for, okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
I think we had some people that raised their hand also.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's been cleared. Okay.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Nancy. Okay. So page 1 and 5 of Appendix 6-19 explains the severity level of exceptions. If you receive an error or E-level exception, then your record did not load in RFS. E-level exceptions can occur on any of the 4 types of records, which are pull, loan, sensitive, and various. The RFS 111 missing pull exception must be cleared by 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 2nd business day. Other outstanding E-level exceptions are expected to be cleared by 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 4th business day. Critical or C-level exceptions are related to remittance and/or disclosure data. These only occur to pull and loan level reporting. The C RFS 204 missing loan exceptions must be cleared by 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 2nd business day. Other outstanding C-level exceptions are expected to be cleared by 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 4th business day. High or H-level exceptions are related to pull and/or loan level reporting. Medium or M-level exceptions are related to loan matching and/or suspense. Low or L-level exceptions may occur on any of the information on the 4 types of records. Sarah, please turn on the annotation tool. Using the annotation tool, please place a sticker on the critical severity level. The error and critical exception should be cleared by the 2nd and 4th business day, and the high, medium, and low exception should be addressed by the 10th business day. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. I love all the colors of the stickers. That's awesome. To access the summary screen in RFS, log in to My Jenny May and RFS, hover over RFS and click on the Exception Feedback module, which is displayed in the red box. The Exception Feedback summary screen is displayed. And this screen shows a roll-up of all of the pool and loan level information that has been accepted from file upload or manual entry for the current month. Note, the drop-down box will display the current month report period and 17 months of prior data. You may only update the current month data. If you are missing current data, this is where you would find a difference in the reported versus the expected loans and pools. On this particular issuer, there are 38 reported loans and 42 expected loans. Therefore, this issuer is missing 4 loans. There are 41 reported pools and 42 expected pools on the bottom half of the screen. Therefore, this issuer is missing 1 pool. Sarah, please turn on the annotation tool. Using your annotation tool, please indicate where on the screen that you would see the number of outstanding exceptions. Perfect. Yes, there are 23 outstanding pool exceptions and 11 outstanding loan exceptions. A quick story. An issuer contacted issuer support stating she had received a call from the investor concerning delinquent loans. The issuer stated they did not have any delinquent loans. We researched the reported data in RFS and determined that the loans were not delinquent. The issuer reported the current month payment but did not report the correct last installment paid date in RFS. We viewed the RFS summary screen and there were 12 loans delinquent 1 month based on the last installment paid date. This is why you should compare the data on your RFS summary screen to your internal servicing system as soon as possible. Here's the Exceptions tab, which displays the outstanding exceptions. If you were missing pools and loans, this is where you would see the count of the missing RFS 111 pool exceptions, which is 1, and the outstanding 3 missing RFS 204 exceptions. If you remember from the RFS summary screen, which was on the prior slide, we were missing 4 loans. This exception feedback screen only shows 3 missing loans. This difference in the missing loan count occurs when the pool has not been reported. Once the pool is reported, the RFS 204 exception will generate. Also, this particular issuer has other outstanding exceptions which will still need to be worked. There are 2 ways to receive your pool and loan level exceptions. Issuers may go to the Exceptions tab from the Exception Feedback module in RFS and click on the blue link to view them through the Exceptions tab. Or the issuer may download a CSV file. Downloading a full list of exceptions is recommended. Sarah, please turn on the annotation tool. By using the annotation tool, please place a sticker on which of the two options you use or will use most frequently to view exceptions. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. It looks like we've got, folks that would use both, which is wonderful. Thank you so much. To download exceptions into a CSV file, navigate to the Exception Feedback module and click on the Download tab. Then click on the Download Exceptions in the dark blue bar. To download a list of all of your outstanding exceptions, click the Download button at the bottom of the screen. Also, if your organization is a subservicer, you may check the Download Subserviced Issuers box on the right side of the page to download all active exceptions for all of your issuers that you subservice for. After clicking the Download button at the bottom of the previous slide, the instruction page will display. Follow the instructions by right-clicking on the Download Exception CSV file. If you select the New Open in New Window option, then the box on the bottom right corner of the screen, the CSV file opens and will display all of your outstanding exceptions. Please save this file as Excel. As a homework question, can someone explain how you use the exception feedback file? If so, please unmute yourself and share. Anyone? Okay, we will move on.
Hi, I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Hi, this is Erica from Greystone. We download the exception feedback file and then go through and start clearing the most urgent exceptions first and just work through the list. And if there's any exceptions that we can't clear out, we will email those to Nancy usually.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
There's for any reason, yeah, sometimes we have some for construction loans or something that we can't clear, and so we'll let our analysts know.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. And then when you said the urgent ones, are you referring to like the E's and the C's for the severity level
right. So
first? Okay.
Clear them all, within the second business day by 7 o'clock, but we'll definitely start with the most, like the errors and all the critical ones first.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Erica. Thank you. After clearing any exceptions, issuers should always save and summarize the pull activity record by clicking the Save and Summarize Pull button at the bottom of the pull screen. If you have reported or updated a loan record, the calculated pull security RPB may change and create a new exception. After the nightly bulk summarization, a quick story. On the third business day, if an issuer liquidates a loan and does not save and sum the pull, then the morning of the fourth business day, the issuer will have multiple critical alerts on the pull record. Then the issuer will need to clear the critical exceptions prior to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the fourth business day. Sarah, would you please post our first polling question? Thank you. So now if everyone could answer the question, how are summarization alerts identified in Appendix 6-19, the report of pool and loan data? And so if you remember, this is the one where I had you put the sticker on the RFS 111 exception a few slides ago. Okay, I'll give it a few more seconds before I end the poll. So everyone has a chance to vote. Okay, so the correct answer is B, exception message is printed in italicized text. Thank you for everyone voting. And Sarah, if you could post our next question, please. Thank you. What percent of data must load for the summarization to occur? Okay, I will give this just a few more seconds. Now go ahead and end the poll. So the correct answer is D, 90% of the data, of accepted data, must load for the summarization to occur. And then that's also the part that we have the nightly bulk summarization as long as 90% of the accepted data. Okay, and Sarah, if you could close the poll, please. Thank you.
Okay, can we show slide 51, please? All right, we're going to do a little overview of reporting workflow. In this module, we will describe the methods used to submit data, requirements to report data, corrected data, and confirm that your file was successfully uploaded. Christy touched base on this earlier in the presentation about uploading the file. So we want to get into a little more detail. Issuers may submit data online through RFS activity screens, and they may also submit data just by manually keying in data. The two upload data or upload files can be done through RFS upload and also a SFTP, which is a secure upload. If you use the SFTP, you have to coordinate that between Ginnie Mae and Bank of New York. You're given specific forms to fill out to use the software product. Many of your service bureaus use the secure SFTP channel to submit data. And of course, the preferred method would be file upload. At that point, once you do file upload, you can keep track of how many files you uploaded, what was on your file, and if you pull down your exceptions after you've loaded your file, you will know what each individual file if it created additional exceptions, and what exceptions it has cleared. RFS does not distinguish between an original file or a correction file. All files, use the same format. I'm sorry. If a second file is received and processed, the data is incorporated with the previous file. And once that file has been submitted and processed, the data cannot be backed out. RFS only retains the most recently submitted data that, again, should you submit a second file and it incorporates it, that's the last data that we would have in the system. So one file doesn't necessarily overlay all the information from an original file. RFS provides information for feedback when you do a file submission. You will get an A for exception and a R for reject. There are two different ways to access the data points to determine what occurred on your file. You can, the information is in e-notification and is also in exception feedback, where you download the information. Files can reject due to many different situations. The most common reason for the file to reject would be an incorrect file name, or the length of the record is incorrect. We always tell issuers, please do not assume just because you submitted a file that the file actually uploaded. Please confirm that your file loaded by reviewing functional acknowledgements on either e-notification or the RFS download screen. You can also view the RFS summary screen to see if there's actual data. Did any data load at all on your file? To view the functional acknowledgement in RFS, you need to access the exception feedback screen, click the download button, and you will see in the dark blue line there are several different areas where you can download information, which would be we're going to go over that in a minute, sorry. So for in the dark, the bottom of the file, you will see information like receipt date, the pool and loan count, and the accept and reject status. This issuer has submitted 3 files. 2 have rejected and 1 was accepted. To view the reason a file rejected, place your cursor on the file name at the far left-hand side and click that file name. So for this file, the file was accepted. Top right-hand corner has an A. It will also tell you there was 41 pools and 41 loans. So this file is good to go. For this file, it rejected. And the reject reason was, I'm sorry, my screen's too long. The format was wrong. And then you see the R on the right-hand side. There are no various or sensitive records submitted at all on this file. These screens here come from e-notification. The top of this slide shows the 3 files that were submitted, that it has the exception FA acknowledgement. There's 3, and then at the very top there's an exception feedback, and that will that shows when your file was actually accepted and processed. If you click on one of the functional acknowledgements, you will see the data information right below that. It gives you the file name, size, issuer ID, accepted, rejected, but it will not give you the reason for the reject. To get that reason, you would have to go back to the RFS download screen and open that file name. Raise your hand if you've ever had a file to reject. I saw that, Cara. All right, thank you. Sarah, clear any hands, please. To access the pool and loan screens, you will need to select Pool Accounting, Multifamily. This opens to a screen where you have several options: the pool record, the loan record, quarterly verification, prepayment penalty, and as always, every single module in RFS has a user guide at the far right. So let's look at the pool record. Raise your hand if you have ever noticed at the bottom left the little plus signs under custodial bank information and the pool transfer history. All right. Thank you very much. Sarah, could you clear the hands? When you view the pool screen, there are several links to additional data. All of the links to the data are in the red boxes. And you can access this additional data by clicking the box or clicking the View 11710A, clicking the plus signs on the left-hand side of the bank screen and the pool transfer screen. And then at the very bottom of the pool activity screen, we have the Save and Summarize button. When you open the custodial bank information and the pool transfer history, this is what your screen will look like. This information, the bank account information, is also used when you're reporting the custodial account information. If you select the pool transfer history, the screen displays the date the pool was issued, which is really helpful to a lot of issuers, and it will also give you any pool transfer history. We did receive a lot of feedback from issuers stating that it was so much easier to go in to see the pool issued date in RFS than trying to find it with their internal records. So again, that was another plus or a positive enhancement that was put into action last year. To view the 11710A, you would click the link to the screen at the very top right. The data on the 11710A is from the issuer reported pool and loan records, along with RFS calculated values and information reported at origination. The issuers are required to generate and maintain an 11710A each month. The RFS 11710A is not considered a substitute for the system-generated forms. So for this activity, we have split this A into two different screens. So on the first screen, the information in section 1 comes from the data reported at loan level, and then it is rolled up into the 11710A. So we would have the collections, we would have additional principal, we also have delinquency information on the left middle screen, and on the right, prepaid and delinquent principal interest comes straight from the loan record. A little bit further down on the left, a lot of this information is from origination. The spread on the pool comes from origination. The bottom half of the screen is a combination of, again, reported loan data, calculated data from the pool record, and origination data. Scheduled principal, additional principal, and liquidations all roll from the data reported on the loan screen. When you save and summarize, that data rolls to the 11.710A screen. The other adjustment comes from the pool record, and that's reported by the issuer. Section 3 includes the reported security balance on the pool record. Section 4 is your guarantee fee information. That is calculated information from origination. It gives you your guarantee fee amount and what the calculation that will be drafted, or the amount that will be drafted in the current month. Section 5 is your bank account information. Whatever you report at the pool level for P&I funds or T&I funds will roll to the RFS summary screen. And when you do your bank reconciliation, those will be the values that you use. At the very bottom of this screen, we have another new enhancements. You may now click here to go back to the pool activity screen. For multifamily issuers, new enhancement, they used to have to just go back and click pool record and enter your pool number again to get back to return to the pool record. So now we've saved you one or more steps in clicking the here to go back to the pool record. The loan activity screen, you access this screen by choosing the loan tab at the top of the multifamily screen. The top half of this screen is information from pool origination, whether it's individual loan data that came from the 11.706 or data that came from the pool 11.705. The loan OPB is the amount of the loan, and then you would also have the amount that is securitized, the interest rate, the FIC of the loan, and the loan term. In the sensitive part of the top record is the name of the project and the address. The bottom half of the screen will show loan activity such as collections, last installment paid date, ending balance of the loan. And again, most important is that the data that you're reporting on the loan flows correctly every single month. There is a link to on the bottom left to the various screens. And also at the very bottom is the Save button. Please remember to actually click the Save button every time you make a loan change, and also go back to the pool record and save it and summarize the pool record. If you ever report additional principal, curtailments, liquidations, the only way they roll to the pool record is to save and summarize the pool record. When you click the bottom plus sign to get to the various screen, here are the data points that you would see on the screen. Loan to value, sorry, I can't even read it. You've got the min, the mom, and the debt service ratio. Okay, now I'm turning it back over to Christy.
Thank you, Nancy. To liquidate a loan in RFS, you would navigate to the loan screen and then click on the Liquidate Loan in the dark blue bar, which is actually with a red box around it here. Then you would input the last installment date, select one of the 6 removal reasons from the drop-down box, enter the actual removal date on the left side of the screen. Then you would enter the liquidation interest and the liquidation principal on the right side of the screen. After you enter the liquidation principal, the liquidation balance autofills as RFS is taking the opening UPB and subtracting the liquidation principal. Ensure you click the Save button at the bottom of the Liquidate Loan screen, then navigate to the Pull screen and click the Save and Summarize button, as Nancy explained just a couple of minutes ago. By saving and summarizing the pull, RFS moves the liquidations in full FIC and the liquidation balance over to the liquidation fields on the pull screen, which also means that the issuer will be passing through the liquidation funds to the security holders. This also lowers the RPB of the pool for the current reporting month. Using the thumbs up or the thumbs down, please give me a thumbs up if there are 6 valid removal reason codes that Ginnie Mae uses. Give me a thumbs down if there are not 6 valid removal reasons. Thank you. I am seeing lots of thumbs up, which is fabulous because yes, at the moment, Ginnie Mae does have 6 valid removal reasons. Sarah, could you please clear the thumbs? You may wonder how the liquidation interest and principal are calculated for inputting on the Liquidate Loan screen. Here is a sample liquidate amortization schedule. As all Ginnie Mae MBS loans are scheduled, meaning the issuer must pass through the scheduled interest and principal whether they collect the payment or not. All liquidated loans are amortized 1 month greater than the current reporting month. This reduces the liquidation principal balance by the scheduled principal, which is included in the pool record. The total interest due and total principal remitted numbers at the bottom of the liquidation record is needed for the Liquidate Loan screen in RFS. Most servicing systems will complete a similar liquidation report like the one displayed on the screen. I will now turn it back over to Nancy.
Thank you, Christy. I keep hitting the wrong button. Hold on. There we go. All right. So this is a pull list screen. Can you raise your hand if you've ever used this screen? I believe a lot of issuers don't even know that they are able to retrieve a pull list in RFS. And I'm not really seeing any hands unless I'm missing them. Sarah, if there are any hands, can you please clear them? So if you would like to actually see which pools that you have or which pools are in RFS, you may use the pool list, and that would be retrieved from the pool accounting screen. You would be at the pool accounting screen, and then you would pick the dark blue line pool list. You would enter a pool number. To see the entire list, enter the lowest pool number that you're currently servicing. If you're servicing an alphanumeric, only alphanumerics, your lowest pool number would start with an A. Numeric pools come first and then the alphanumeric. So for this issuer, as you can see, they had quite a few number of pools. It also tells you the pool type and the status of the pool. Once you have this list, you can click on pool status to view the pool record, and you can view the loan record by clicking the pool number. Sounds a little backwards, but that's how it works. Okay, for the loan list, and a lot of times when an issuer calls us with a problem, they'll say, I don't know the loan number, I know the pool number. And this is what the issuer support people actually do to get the unique loan ID when the issuer only gives us the pool number. So we go into the loan, we click the loan list, put in the pool number, and press go, and the actual loan number for that pool will show up. So for this is actually a multifamily issuer list. It's, I think, a RX, and it has 5 loans in it. And you can click the unique loan ID when you want to view the individual loans. Okay, so for the pool activity screen, it contains a combination of fields for issuer reported data, and it also shows the system calculated fields. For issuer reported data, when you're reporting loan level data and you save and sum the pool activity screen, any of that data like liquidations, that would roll to the pool activity screen. So on this screen, the liquidation box does not have a, or liquidation field does not have a box around it. So that is not determined from the pool activity screen. Always report your TNI, P&I, and any replacement reserve funds that you're holding. If the funds were collected from the borrower, you should be reporting a service fee. As always, save and summarize your pool record after any reported data at the pool or the loan level. For the loan activity screen, report your collections or your reversals and adjustments on the individual loan. I mentioned earlier that the reported LPI date determines if the loan is calculated as delinquent. It is not calculated using the loan ending balance. We have a red box around the various link at the very bottom, and also there's the Save Sum button. Remember to save your loan and then go to your pool and save and summarize. We keep mentioning to save and sum all loans and pools when there's a data change. We did have an issuer that manually corrected over 100 pool and loan exceptions, and they never went back and saved and summarized the pool record. They were very lucky that it was only the 3rd business day and they had time to go back and correct the data. So when RFS did the monthly summarization, did the nightly summarization, the next morning this issuer had quite a few errors. Another enhancement that was created last year is we combined the save and the summarize pool button. So once you click save and summarize, it's just one button now, which cuts down on the amount of activity the issuer needs to perform each month, and it helps save all the data that was reported. Very positive feedback was received from the issuers. Some additional enhancements from the download screen were, if you are a subservicer, you can download all of your issuer exceptions into one file instead of saying I subservice 4 issuers, I have to go to each issuer and pull a separate file. Now the subservicer can pull one file and it will give you the individual information for each issuer. You may download all the liquidations you reported in the current month, or you can combine it for several months. And this goes back, I can't remember how many. Christy, do you remember how many months the liquidation goes back?
It is 24 months. You can 24. Do a range of up to 24 months from the current month. Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You may download your RFS summary screen where when you save it to an Excel file, a lot of issuers are using that to compare to their summary, to their internal system, or they're doing a scrape on the information and doing a compare. Another great enhancement is downloading the 11.710As into one file. We just used this enhancement at the end of last week to help an issuer determine where they had reported incorrect data, as in the last installment paid date. It was very beneficial, and it was really easy to determine which loans had the incorrect data reported. Can y'all put a sticker on any of the download tools that y'all have used? Great. Look at all those stars and check marks. That's wonderful that issuers are actually using the new download screens. Sarah, can you please clear the annotation tool? Okay, now we're going to turn this back over to Christy.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We will now review a few examples of reporting pool and loan data. If you have a non-amortizing PN pool, this slide shows you how to report the first month in RFS. The opening FIC needs to be 0. The adjustment to FIC needs to be the loan level FIC and entered as a positive number, and the closing FIC should be the same number. The scheduled principal and total principal should be 0. The closing security RPB should equal the opening security RPB. You may ask, how do I determine if I have a new loan that does not amortize until 2 or more months after the pool is issued? The answer is to review the first payment date of the principal and interest on the mortgage note, as it will be greater than 2 months of the pool issue date. The first payment date should agree to the first payment date reported on the 11.706 in MF PDM. For a CL or CS construction loan, draws are entered on the Edit Construction screen in the Principal Draw field as a positive whole number, meaning you do not enter cents into this Principal Draw field, which is highlighted by the red box. To find the draw amount, review e-notification for the daily transfer sheet formatted draw notification. Also, there may be someone from your secondary marketing or capital markets team that provides you with this draw information. After inputting the construction draw amount on the loan, navigate to the pool screen. Save and sum the pool to ensure that the draw amount carries over correctly. Liquidations are reported on the pool and loan records. Here is an edit project loan that has been liquidated. In the upper left-hand corner, liquidate loan appears in red. On the pool record, the liquidation in full FIC and the liquidation balance carry over to the loan record when the pool is saved and summarized. These red boxes show these two fields. Interest rate reductions are known as IRRs. Should have a code 6 other as the liquidation reason. In order to process a code 6 other, issuers must receive written permission from Ginnie Mae prior to removal. You may ask, are IRRs like modification? And the answer is yes, they are exactly like modifications. Sarah, would you please post the first polling question? Thank you, Sarah. Oh, great. Already got folks answering. So when should you summarize a loan record? Looks like we've got quite a few people voting. So again, the question is, when should you summarize a loan record? So if you think back to the loan and the pool screens that Nancy went over, was there a summarize button on the loan screen, or was it on the pool screen? Okay, I am going to go ahead and end the poll. And actually, the correct answer to this question is C. This is a trick question because the summarize is only on the pool screen. So you would never summarize a loan record. You would only save a loan record and then go over to the pool screen and save and summarize the pool. Sarah, would you please go to the next question? Thank you. So which screen can you use to locate the bank account information? So this would be like your bank account number and your ABA number. Wonderful. We've got a lot of people voting. I'll give it just another second or two. I'll go ahead and end the poll. And it does look like the majority of folks got it right. The correct answer is the pool activity screen. And remember, the bank account information is one of the pluses in the bottom left-hand corner of the pool screen that would list out all of the bank account numbers and the ABA numbers. Sarah, could you post the last question, please? Thank you. So which records are required each month? I'll give this just a few more seconds. I'll go ahead and end the poll. And it does look like most everyone got that right. So it is the pool and loan records are required each month for the reporting. The sensitive and the various would only be reported if there were changes. So Sarah, if you could end the polling questions, that would be great. And also I did want to read, we did have one question in the chat earlier. That is, what day should we use for the removal date on the liquidation screen? And that is the actual date that you would post the funds in your servicing system. So an example is if you would post it today, then the date would be 7/21 of 2021. So instead of entering breakout rooms or individual or separate breakout rooms like we did in Monday's session, we will analyze the exception feedback file as a group today. When you are working your exception feedback file, Appendix 6-19 defines the exception feedback severity level, exception code, and exception messages. All of the Ginnie Mae Issuer Support Team keeps a printed copy of Appendix 6-19 on their desk to assist us with answering issuer questions regarding exceptions. I actually have mine here printed. It's the first part in my binder here. So,
And mine fell apart. I have used it so much.
That's okay, Nancy. If you want to go ahead and turn your camera on and
okay,
show, that's good.
No.
Oh gosh.
No,
well, you know,
I've
probably printed a few of those in my Ginnie Mae time. So this is intended to be a group discussion. The more people that participate, the better the discussion will be. Please unmute your microphone to speak or provide comments in the chat box. So here on row 1, we display the column headings. You have the ability to sort this exception download file based on your needs, because it is downloaded as like a CSV or Excel file, so you can sort it or filter it, whatever best works for you. This particular list is saved by severity code. So both the code and the field names identify whether it is a pool or loan exception. This example was downloaded on the first business day and only one file had been submitted. So the first question to the group is which alerts would need to be addressed first? So do I have anyone? Okay, John, thank you. The critical. So that's these here, okay. Critical, the E error, okay, Erica. So is that Erica from Greystone that spoke earlier? Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure what her last name was.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Wonderful. So would anyone like to unmute and actually speak? Maybe? Okay. So yes, so actually we would suggest that the RFS 111, which is the pool not reported, and the RFS 204, the loans not reported, should be addressed first, especially on the first business day or the second business day, since the deadline for reporting all of the pool and loan data is 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the second business day. And then second, you could work the other remaining error and critical alerts, because that deadline is the fourth business day at 7 p.m. And then third, you could work the remaining high, medium, and low alerts prior to the 10th business day at 7 p.m., since that is their deadline. So we are going to actually combine question 2 and 3. How would you clear the critical alerts, and what steps are involved in addressing each alert? So do I have a volunteer? Erica, would you like to speak? I know her microphone works. So.
Right on the spot. So typically, yes, we would go with the ones that are not reported, right, and go into either the pool or the loan and make sure that we have reported data in there, and then save and summarize those pools to clear out the ones that don't have any activity. And then for the other ones, go into the pool record and basically just see what, why our value is not matching the expected value, and make manual corrections, and then look at our system too to see where
okay, so are. So you would mean like compare what's in RFS to what's in your servicing system or your servicing reports, whichever one. Okay, perfect.
Exactly. Right. So like, the report here shows the expected value, which, like, if you look at the second row, it's showing that there's the pool number is incorrect, right? It's off a digit. So we would see whether it was like what the issue was. So if our system of record had an issue, and we would make corrections to RFS and then address our system.
Wonderful. Perfect. It does. Thank you. Thank you. Nancy, do you have any additional comments?
I think the only comment that I would add to it is, if you're a brand new employee, it's going to take you a little bit to actually understand what the alerts and exception messages are. And of course, Appendix 6-19 would be what you would use to assist you in that understanding. Once you clear one alert, you may create additional alerts. So you always have to keep looking at the data that you've reported. And it would be great if issuers actually had a servicing manual to help a new employee. Some of the issuers, I know when we first started RFS, using RFS, a lot of the issuers did actual screen prints and wrote all over them, and that's how they learned or remembered how to do certain processes. So, just think about, if every single month you have the same alert, what is causing that alert, and do you remember how to clear it? So, and you would always have notes to go back to.
That is an excellent idea. If I remember correctly, when I started using RFS, I think you told me that. And that's exactly what I did.
Imagine that.
I know.
Imagine that. No, we really have a lot of issuers that say, they call us for a problem, and we work with them one-on-one, and they'll say, hold on, I got to get a screen print before I can go to the next screen. So they actually take screen prints and keep any changes they do all month. you know, they put it in their folder and it stays there. So, and you know, that's just the requirement that,
Right,
or
right.
that's how they do their
And
processes.
like, I know whenever I'm talking to an issuer, if they have a loan level exception, but the loan has already been liquidated, that's like the first thing I tell them is when they get to the liquidated loan, take a screen print, because then you've got all your numbers and your dates and your reason code, because then you have to cancel the liquidation and go back to the loan and, you know, fix the loan level information and then re-liquidate the loan. And then also you'll always have to remember to go back to the fall level and save in some of the fall. So, okay, well, wonderful. So does anyone have any other questions or comments about the working the exception feedback?
Oh, I wanted to also mention this. We asked issuers, did they use RFS and click the individual exception errors and then click, you know, I've got a RFS 111, screens come up or whatever, and they click that, or did they do download, RFS download? And we said download was the preferred method. You can keep, like this download right here, you know, every loan and every pool that had an error, should you need to go back and research what was corrected and is it, you know, done right. A lot of issuers, when they just use what is in RFS and they click the loan or the pool and look at the message, they don't remember if they actually worked on a loan or worked on a pool. So this would give you, you know, some documentation on data that
Absolutely.
you may have changed.
Good point. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share again since I'm on the spot. We actually add a column to our file and then make notes on there as to what we, like, it's the common notes for us, what we changed or why, you know, why we got that error and any action that we took to correct it.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
perfect.
great out of there, yeah.
And then, you know, if you were ever asked in some sort of audit, you would have a paper trail of that. It's a really good idea. Okay. Do we have anyone else that would like to share or have any questions about this? Okay, if not, we will move on to, so we are near the end of our session today. So if anyone has any questions, you know, regarding anything from today or Monday's training session, please unmute yourself and ask or type your question in the chat box. Also, we have provided our email addresses at the bottom of this slide. You know, for your reference, so you know, anytime if you guys, you know, think of anything after, you can always shoot us an email. So does anyone have any questions or comments?
Hi, Christy. My name is Nibar Tom from Greystone Servicing Company.
Hi.
I had one quick question for you.
Sure.
One thing we noticed was on the RFS summary screen, on occasion, we would report something like 10 delinquent loans, but only 9 would show up. And then the day after when we checked it, it would go up to 10. Is that pretty standard? Like, is that something we should expect?
So actually part of that cut out. So could you repeat that? Just so I make sure I...
So on occasion, we'd report about 10 delinquent loans. And
delinquent
then,
loans, okay.
And on the RFS summary screen, only 9 delinquent loans would show up. But if we check it the day after, or like, you know, I guess overnight or something like that, it would jump up to 10 and everything would match. Is that like something just odd going on in the background, or is that something that we should expect?
Well, Actually, I believe that you would be reporting that loan level information, and it seems like maybe you missed saving and summing one of the pools.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right, because, right, because, once you make any loan level change, when you go over to the pool and save and sum it, then that should roll everything up and make everything be correct on your summary screen. So if you didn't do that one day and then you saw it correct the next day, it's catching it in that 90% nightly bulk summarization process.
Gotcha. Understood.
That RFS
Thank
runs.
you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I didn't realize it was like a nightly thing. So, and of course, on occasion, I'm sure we forget to click the summarize button. So.
Right, and that's why it's important to go download your exceptions daily, and save that file, because if you do, miss, if you're working your, high, medium, and lows alerts on the 5th business day, and you didn't go and save and sum something, you could have new exceptions, generate on the morning of the 6th business day after the nightly process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was a great question. Thank you. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, if not, we hope that you will join us Friday for our next session, which we will be covering the additional reporting requirements and cash and recons. Thank you for your attendance and attention today. At the beginning of session 3, we will ask you to provide the most important topic that stood out to you from today's session and for any unresolved questions. I will now turn it over to Sylvia.